Hey guys, welcome to the All Sports Pass Podcast North. My name is Eli. I'm your host, and uh, we're here today with Max again. Pretty much, uh, just have to say, Max, I think you're probably the secret key because we've been getting more views
Yeah.
with you on here. Yeah. Um, but hey, I can't believe it's this time of year again where we're doing the 2024 Heisman preview. It feels like yesterday the season just started. So yeah. Before we get into this video and talk about the Heisman, you already know I got to start off with the verse of the day, and this verse was actually requested by you, Max. Yeah, it's Isaiah 40:31, and it says, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." And also, guys, before we get in this video, leave a like, subscribe for more college football content. And without further ado, let's begin. So the finalists of the 2024 Heisman Trophy are Oregon QB Dylan Gabriel. Hey, show the jersey, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I actually said this too before we recorded. That's probably the best jersey that I've ever seen Oregon have. I would not mind seeing that as their primary. But I understand the meaning of like having a throwback. And then we have Colorado wide receiver DB Travis Hunter, Boise State running back Ashton Genty. So I've been putting an emphasis on the A there the last few times. My dad literally had to correct me last night on that. And then Miami quarterback Cam Ward. Um, and before we get into like all these guys, I'm just gonna say this, like, and I'm not saying this because like I'm a Tennessee fan, but I really do think Dylan Sampson was left out on this because like this dude had in all but one game, he had at least one touchdown, and most of these were pretty much multiple touchdowns in a game, and the max he had was actually four against Kent State, and yeah. So, do you think that Sampson was left out? Like, do you think that he should have been a finalist?
It, it just depends because Cam Ward and Dylan were really good. Ashton Jensen just played cupcake teams like all year. When Travis Bashan they get just overrated. So I think next year he should be a finalist.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think Sampson's going to the draft. That's what I think. Um, but we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But yeah. Um, but however, I do think, of course, that for Sampson, like when I saw that he was not a finalist for like any like the major awards, I was shocked because dude was like leading the SEC in like rushing, I believe, and he ended up, breaking the nearly 100-year-old school record for most touchdowns in a season, and that's crazy to me because I think that breaking the record really says something, and I do think that that Sampson, I just feel like got screwed out of the Heisman running. And
Yeah.
also, do you think that, like, you remember 2022 when Hendon Hooker for Tennessee was considered as part of the Heisman? I can see why he was eliminated from it because, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
he got injured in that game against South Carolina.
Yeah.
And of course, you already know how I feel about that South Carolina game, but I'm not going to say it here because that was in the past. We can only look forward to the future. um, but yeah, but however, I also do think, of course, that there's also, and this might be a hot take for me. So if y'all are in the comments, please don't attack me for this um, because this is just my opinion. I feel like Travis Hunter being on the, like, don't get me wrong, Travis is a good player, but I just think that Travis just, I don't think he deserves to be on there. That's just me.
Yeah. Like he's not as good as Charles Woodson was when he was a two-way player. A- and he's not even the best receiver or corner in college.
hmm He Yeah, and also the fact is this, that I forgot to mention this to start the video, that two of these teams that are finalists are actually actually hold on. Yeah, they're both hosting like in the quarterfinal, basically, which is Boise State and Oregon. So of course that really says something that how good these two teams were. And now for Travis Hunter, in this season he had 14 touchdowns receiving, 1,152 yards for 92 receptions, which is an average of 12.5 and yards, excuse me. And he had a long of 51. And for rushing over here, he just had one touchdown. And now, of course, I do think, of course, like receivers usually don't tend to play running back a lot. But of course, you see the jet sweep and all and things like that. But however, I think that also seeing him on defense is. I'm trying to hold on. I'm trying to get up the defense here. Sorry about this. Hold on. There we go. On defense, he in this season he had a total of 31 tackles and yeah, so basically don't get me wrong, 31's really good, but I feel like you're having like a two-way player pretty much. Like you're having him get it done on offense and defense. So I really think that for Travis, I really do not think that that these numbers are as impressive as like Dylan Sampson's. Like I said, now I'll admit the defensive numbers are impressive, and I would be fine with having him on there, like probably maybe a receiver or defensive back. But and I understand because like it's like you say, a two-way player is pretty hard to come by these days.
Yeah,
Um, so really, I just don't think. I think that there's probably someone a bit more deserving than Travis, but hey, it is what it is. It's pretty clear, like the Heisman voting pretty much sees some in him that other people don't see. And do you think you see some in him that people don't see?
obviously when he's a two-way player.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing now. Of course, I only watched like one Colorado game this season, and I think it was like the first game of the season for them. And mostly, of course, I think I also kept on like hearing, and this dude was not on the Heisman. I kept on hearing this name a lot, Shadir Sanders,
Yeah,
and yeah, like don't get me wrong, like Shadir's good, but I just think that like, just what do you feel about him? Like, because and it's also another hot take, but I think he's slightly overrated.
yeah. I mean, he's just carried for me by Travis Hunter. Like he's projected to go number one over to go first round in the draft, which like goes. We'll just see how that goes. But
I'm
right
sorry, did
now,
you say first overall? Sorry, I'm sorry.
no,
I think you might have cut out a little bit.
first rounder.
Oh, uh, first rounder is what you said. Sorry.
Yeah,
All right. Basically, I think that of course, that don't get me wrong, like he'd be good for like a struggling team. I think in the NFL, like maybe say now, of course, Patriots already got a quarterback. Raiders,
yes.
basically.
C- uh, I think that Las Vegas will get Cam Ward because
Yeah,
he's
I think so as
looking.
well. Yeah, I think so as well. But like, I also think that for Shadir, like, I think he's a good quarterback. But I'm gonna be honest. Like, I think that that I think the spotlight's been switched between him and Travis Hunter. That's just what I think. And yeah. So anything you want to add on Travis?
Nah,
All right. So we're gonna go to the next one, and that is Cam Ward. And I'm gonna be honest, Cam, honestly, I think he's deserving. Here are his 2024 regular season stats, and these are impressive to me. He threw for 4,123 yards, 36 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions, and he led he led the college football stat of QB rating, which was an 88.0. And so I think he's deserving to be on this list. Of course, unfortunately, like, and he even led Miami on a undefeated season up until about hold on, let me count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. On like a 9-game winning streak, and up until they got upset by Georgia Tech. And then they're able to win the next game against Wake Forest, and then they had, of course, an upset loss to Syracuse, and that's what, basically got them out of the playoffs pretty much. But, however, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm trying to remember. I might have got them actually mixed up here. Hold on, guys. Sorry. I just have to. Sorry, guys. I might have got them mixed up. Just let me confirm. Because I swear I might be thinking of Alabama here for some reason. Hold on. But anyway, for Cam, like his numbers are impressive. It's just they just weren't able to get into the playoffs simply because of some of these misfortunes. Okay, yeah. I was saying of Alabama for some reason. They went 10-2. Um, we talked about Alabama last week, so I don't know why the heck they're still on my mind. um, but basically, I simply do think this though, that the thing about the college football playoffs, the reason why they didn't make it, I think, was really because of that, where Syracuse came back to win. That's really why I think that they were left out. Um, and I do think, of course, that you know basically for his season, these numbers are impressive. And I also would not be surprised to see him holding that thing tonight. Um, and if we're talking like career stats, now, of course, he's a 5th-year senior. All his numbers are impressive all his numbers are impressive from 2020 to 2024, which, of course, we don't have time based on like time constraints to get through all of them. But I'm gonna be honest here. The max he had 47 touchdowns in 2021, and threw 10 interceptions that year. And pretty much all his touchdowns were in the double digits. Of course, he went 24 and he had 24 in 2020, 47 in 2021, 23 in 2022, 25 in 2023, and 36 in 2024. And that's really impressive to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I really do think, of course, that had it not been for those misfortunes, Miami probably would have made it. Yeah, but what are your thoughts on Cam?
Uh, Cam's like one of the best quarterbacks in the nation right now. Like, I think he'll be the best quarterback off the board in the draft. It just gives the defense didn't blow that 28-0 lead against Syracuse or whatever. Like, they would be in the playoffs fighting for a national championship.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. I just think, of course, that basically with Syracuse with that win, of course, it propelled Clemson in, and that really, of course, pretty much put Miami out. So that's really why you couldn't have lost that game. And that's what we like to hear called taking care of business. You got to take care of business no matter where you play, and no matter what game it is, you got to take care of business. And the fact is that Miami just after that undefeated streak, they ended up getting another win, and it was against Wake Forest, and then end up losing to Syracuse, which was probably one of the biggest upsets of the season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, anything you want to add on Cam?
No.
All right. Next one here we're going to talk about is Ashton Genty. And I'm going to be honest, this dude is a beast. Excuse me. He had 344 carries, and get this, 2,497 yards and 29 touchdowns. And pretty much all that was on rushing. And he also had one receiving touchdown this season as well. And so I think this dude, like in my opinion, it's either going to be him or Cam Ward, in my opinion, getting it tonight. But that's just my top 2 favorites. But however, I think of course, also if you see here though, Boise of course lost 2 at Oregon, back when Oregon was ranked 7th, and Oregon only won 37-34. And so I do think, of course, Boise is, a team to be reckoned with. But like you say, they did play a bit of some, like, weaker opponents,
Yeah.
And now, don't get me wrong, of course, you have to get through somebody to put up some numbers. Um, so I do think he is deserving of being considered this. And don't get me wrong, you don't tend to see a bunch of, running backs with this much in a season. Basically with 2,000 with over 2,000 yards. But I do think, of course, that with that, it depends on, I think it also depends on, who all they played. And like you said, like we just mentioned, they played a bit of weaker teams. But however, even a weaker team can put a stop to a running back. And that's, something that is really something we have to consider as well. Um, in my opinion, for a running back, you got to try to get through that defensive line, which is not easy to do. So the defenses this year allowing this many yards for this man is something that shows that he is pretty talented, and that the fact that he has the 2,000 yards is in this season is very impressive.
Yeah.
All right, anything you want to add on him?
Uh, he could break Barry Sanders' rushing touchdown record. Like, if he gets like good enough touchdowns in the playoffs, he can definitely break it.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though. I still think Barry's the greatest of all time, though.
He is, but
Yeah.
I think Ashton just needs 8 touchdowns to tie, 9 to win, or break the record.
You said 8 touchdowns to break the record.
Yeah,
All right. Sorry, you cut out there a little bit. That's why I was asking there. um, but basically, 8 touchdowns. I'd probably say this that now, of course, I'd have to have the bracket up for me. Um, but however, you got some time to prepare, and I think that hold on, guys. I need to get the bracket up. I didn't think I'd be needing it today. um, hold on. But anyway, like of course, this bracket, I'm gonna be honest. Like with the 12-team playoffs this season, I'm gonna even admit it's still puzzling to me. Yeah. Um. So basically, the winner of SMU and Penn State will play Boise State, and more than likely that's going to be Penn State. Um. So yeah, now do I think that Boise State can get by Penn State? It's going to be close because Penn State was able to hang in with some of the teams this year, and yeah. So, but I think it's going to be behind Ashton. Um, I think they're going to put the ball in his hands so much this game that it's going to be interesting. So yeah. All right, that's all I got for Ashton. You want to add anything else?
uh,
All right, this is Max's guy, Dylan Gabriel.
yeah, DJ,
Yeah,
Kiki.
and Dylan, of course, led led Oregon to the number one seed and an undefeated season. And here are his stats: 3,558 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. And he has the second best quarterback rating in the country, with a rating of 86.5. And that's impressive. And also do think, of course, that, and of course, we also mentioned, Oregon's best wins. Of course, their best win was against a back then second ranked Ohio State by a score of 32-31. And of course, against Penn State, which is against, which was a win 45-37. And because of that, they're hosting a first round playoff game. And now, of course, if you see the first two games, of course, for Oregon, they struggled against Idaho, who is an FCS team. And of course, like I mentioned in the Ashton segment, um, They barely get by Boise, but then they're able to go out guns blazing the rest of the season and win by big numbers, with the exception, of course, of Wisconsin. They were able to win by a score of 16-13. But of course, the reason why I say like the Ohio State, like people saying, oh, but you didn't mention the Ohio State when, well, it's because back then Ohio State was basically getting over everybody, and so of course I was not surprised at that result. I really wasn't. I knew it was going to be a close game pretty much if Oregon was going to get by them. Now, of course, for Dylan, I think that, of course, he transferred from Oklahoma pretty much, and pretty much so he probably has the best season of his college career this season. Now, don't get me wrong, he did good at Oklahoma, 30 touchdowns in 2023 and 25 touchdowns in 2022, and then of course back in his tenure at UCF, which was a while back, um, he had 32 touchdowns and 4 interceptions in 2020. So basically, he's got a good resume behind him. But however, I think it depends on of course, it does matter about this season. But I think a good resume is probably this man right here.
Yeah.
So basically, of course, you pretty much became an Oregon fan after the win over Ohio State. But basically, and I was curious, how many games have you watched of Oregon this season?
I think like 9 or 10.
So what have you noticed from Dylan in there?
I noticed that he usually like when he throws it to Ted Johnson, except for that Ohio State game, but I believe he got ejected.
Hmm. I was wondering because I think I might have been covering the Tennessee game that week. Of course, because of course the thing we did, like with of course me and the West Channel, was we alternated the Tennessee games this season. So of course with that Tennessee game, of course I was mostly covering that game. So I don't think I was able to watch that game that week. And of course now you're like, but it's on YouTube. I know. I've been busy as well. So yeah. But however, I do think, of course, that Dylan, honestly, he's led Oregon to a great season. Don't get me wrong; they're undefeated. They're hosting a playoff game, and I think they're going to be tough to beat. But however, can we see? Do you think we could see Dylan holding that Heisman tonight?
It's a bit to be close in the voting, I think.
Same here. Like I think it's going to be interesting as well. But hey, I think of course that another thing that I forgot to mention is that this is the first time in a while that no SEC player has been put in the final Heisman voting for the
Yeah.
first time in a while. Like that's just crazy to me.
But mainly because like there's not really any great SEC quarterbacks this year.
Yeah. And also, but I do think, of course, when we see next year, that's when we're going to see a lot of good SEC players.
Yeah.
Like, and I wouldn't be surprised to see some of them be a finalist for the Heisman. Like, that's just what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like I think next year I think Nico will be in it, Gunner Stockton will be in it, then Ty Simpson will be in it.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. There anything else you want to add?
No.
All right. That's going to do it for the Heisman Trophy preview. So thank you all for watching, and like, subscribe for more college football content, and also, guys, keep in mind we're still learning a little bit. This is all still a bit new to us. So if we make some mistakes, just go easy on us. But hey, we have fun doing this, and that's what matters. So yeah. That being said, peace out. God bless, and have a good day.